Sustainable, affordable housing. Have you lost your mind, Madeline? The Langford name was built on luxury developments, not charity projects. My grandfather's voice cut through the boardroom like steel against mahogany. I'm Madeline Langford, and at 28, I had just presented my vision for Langford Development Corporation to our family board, a vision that had fallen catastrophically flat. It's not charity, I replied steadily. It's innovation. Sustainable housing with cutting-edge design at accessible price points. The market research. The market research shows luxury properties yield the highest returns, my father interrupted, not looking up from his quarterly report, just as they have for 50 years. I glanced around at the faces I'd known my entire life. My grandfather Richard, founder and chairman, my father James, current CEO, my uncle Philip, CFO, and executives who owed their careers to my family's patronage, not a single ally. The development landscape is changing, I persisted. Millennials can't afford traditional luxury. They value sustainability over square footage. Enough. My grandfather's palm struck the table. Langford develops premium properties for premium clients. That's our legacy. Your proposal is rejected. Just like that. 4 years at Cornell's architecture program, 2 at Harvard Business School, and 3 working through every department at Langford, all dismissed with a single word. As I left the boardroom, my grandfather fixed me with a familiar look, equal parts disappointment and challenge. Madeline, this company has survived because we never deviate from what works. Remember that. In my office, my assistant Rob looked up. That bad? Worse, they didn't even consider it. So what now? I turned to him, decision crystallizing. Now we go to Plan B. Plan B began the following day with a phone call. Connor, it's Madeline Langford. I think it's time we discuss that partnership you proposed. Connor Zhang had been my study partner at Harvard before launching Zhang Innovations, a venture capital firm specializing in sustainable infrastructure. He'd approached me months earlier about collaborating, but I'd held back, hoping to transform Langford from within. Let me guess, he replied. The family board wasn't receptive to dragging Langford into the 21st century. That's putting it mildly. Their loss. So you're ready to start something new? I am, but I'm not looking to use the Langford name. Whatever we build needs to succeed on its own merits. After making plans to meet, I received a text from my younger sister Charlotte. Heard about the board meeting. Dad's furious. Dinner at their place tonight? The family dinner invitation was clearly a summons to be lectured. Charlotte, 4 years my junior and halfway through her MBA, had always been more willing to follow the Langford path. Can't tonight, I replied. Deadlines. Rain check. Her response, don't avoid them forever. They're just protecting what they built. That was what my family never understood. I didn't want to destroy their legacy. I wanted to evolve it. But if they couldn't see that, perhaps it was time to build something new. You're really going through with this? My father asked 3 weeks later in his study, surrounded by the trappings of Langford's success. I've resigned effective end of month. I've accepted a role with Zhang Innovations. As what? Some junior developer? You're a Langford. You're meant to lead this company someday. Lead it where, Dad? Into the same market we've served for 50 years? The world is changing. So change things from within, he argued. Be patient. Your grandfather won't be around forever. You'll make the same decisions he would. That's fine for you, but it's not my vision. He stood, assuming his negotiating stance. What if I could get the board to approve a small pilot project? Something sustainable, but still upscale. A token project to keep me in line. That's not what I'm looking for. Then what are you looking for? To throw away your inheritance? Your place in this family? I'm looking to build something meaningful. Something that addresses real needs in the housing market. Your grandfather will see this as betrayal. I know. And you're prepared for the consequences. Once you walk away from Langford, there's no guaranteed path back. I understand. Later, my mother called. Your father told me. Are you sure about this, Maddie? I'm sure, Mom. Your grandfather built this company from nothing. He sees your ambition as rejection of his legacy. I know the story. He doesn't understand that you're more like him than anyone else in the family. That surprised me. What do you mean? Richard didn't follow his father's path either. He was supposed to take over the family law practice. Instead, he saw an opportunity no one else recognized. As we hung up, I realized my mother had given me unexpected perspective. Perhaps my departure wasn't rejecting my grandfather's legacy, but extending it in ways he couldn't yet see. 2 years passed in a blur of 18-hour workdays, pitch meetings, and construction sites. Connor and I had founded Nexus Development, combining his capital connections with my architectural expertise. Our focus: design forward, sustainable housing that middle-income buyers could actually afford. Our first project, a 60-unit development outside Boston, was nearing completion, incorporating innovative materials, energy-efficient systems, and community-oriented design at accessible price points. I hadn't spoken to my grandfather since leaving. My father maintained cordial but distant contact. Charlotte had gradually become my strongest family ally, fascinated by Nexus despite her continued loyalty to Langford. "The sales office opens next week," Charlotte asked, walking through our nearly completed development. "Thursday. We already have a waiting list of over 200 potential buyers for 60 units. "That's impressive," she admitted, touching the sustainable materials. "And these are beautiful. And sustainable. The building is carbon neutral in operation." Charlotte hesitated. "Grandfather asks about you. He'd never admit it, but he follows what you're doing here." This surprised me. "How is he?" "Stubborn as ever. But Langford's facing challenges. The luxury market is softening. They've had to reduce prices on the Beacon Towers project." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you? It kind of proves your point. I never wanted Langford to struggle. I just saw a different path forward." "Well, the board isn't completely blind. After you left, I started sharing some of your market research. There's been talk of diversifying our portfolio." "Really?" "Dad's even mentioned your name in strategy sessions. Not that grandfather acknowledges it." She paused at a window overlooking the courtyard. "This place is special, Maddie. You've built something that matters." "We're officially sold out," Raj announced months later, champagne in hand. 60 units, all under contract, 3 weeks ahead of projections. "And at asking price or above for every unit," he added. "The Boston Globe wants an interview. So does Architectural Digest." The intercom buzzed. "Ms. Langford, there's a Mr. Richard Langford here to see you." "My grandfather? Here?" "Send him in," I managed. The door opened, and there he stood, more stooped than I remembered, leaning on a cane, but with the same commanding presence. "Grandfather." "Madeline." He nodded, then glanced at Raj. "Might we have a moment?" After Raj left, my grandfather surveyed my modest office. "I drove by your development yesterday. Quite a crowd at the sales office. We've just sold out." "So I heard." He took a seat across from my desk. "I came to offer you a proposition." "What kind of proposition?" "Langford Development is considering a new division focused on sustainable mid-market housing. We'd like to acquire Nexus as the foundation for this initiative." I stared at him stunned. "You want to buy my company?" "With you at the helm of the new division. Full creative control, board position, appropriate compensation. It would bring you back into the fold where you belong." 2 years ago, this offer would have been everything I wanted. Now it felt hollow. "Why now?" 2 years ago, you dismissed everything I'm doing as charity projects. Markets change. Successful companies adapt. And it has nothing to do with Beacon Towers underperforming while Nexus sold out ahead of schedule. His eyes narrowed. "I'm offering you a chance to bring your vision to a larger platform. To come home." "And what happens to Connor? To my team?" "Zong would receive fair market value. As for your team, that would be your decision as division head." I walked to the window, considering. The offer was tempting: resources, scale, family reconciliation. But something felt wrong. "This isn't about markets adapting," I said finally. "This is about absorbing a competitor and neutralizing an approach that challenges yours." That's an uncharitable interpretation, but accurate. If I returned to Langford, how long before the sustainable division became another luxury brand with a few green features for marketing? "You've become cynical." "I've become clear-sighted. I appreciate the offer, but Nexus isn't for sale." He stood stiffly. "You're making a mistake. Langford Resources could expand your vision tenfold, or dilute it beyond recognition." He moved toward the door, then paused. "Your father thinks you'll reconsider. He still believes you'll come back eventually." "And what do you believe?" My grandfather studied me, and I saw something unexpected, not anger or disappointment, but grudging respect. "I believe you're more like me than I care to admit." stubborn, convinced of your own vision, unwilling to compromise. I'll take that as a compliment. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. It wasn't entirely meant as one. He added, "Your development, it's good work, Madeline." Different from what I would build, but good work nonetheless. It was the closest to approval I ever received from him regarding my vision. 5 years after founding Nexus, I stood on the roof deck of our fourth completed project. What had once been an underutilized industrial area was now a vibrant community with sustainable housing, green spaces, and thriving local businesses. The mayor's office called again, Connor said. They want to feature Nexus in their Housing Innovation Showcase next month. Tell them we'd be honored, and the Cambridge proposal. Greenlit yesterday. Construction starts next quarter. Nexus had grown beyond my initial vision, with projects across New England. We'd proven that sustainable, thoughtfully designed housing could be both accessible and profitable, a model others were increasingly emulating, including, ironically, Langford Development. After my grandfather's failed acquisition attempt, Langford had launched their own sustainable luxury line, a half-step toward what I proposed. More significantly, our success had forced an industry conversation about responsibility and accessibility. Your father's here, Connor said, nodding toward the entrance. I invited him. He's never actually seen one of our completed projects. My father studied the solar array as I approached. Impressive setup. Your energy cost projections were accurate. Within 2%. Residents here pay about 40% less in utilities than comparable units. Since my grandfather's acquisition attempt, our relationship had gradually thawed. We still disagreed fundamentally about development philosophy, but mutual respect was growing. Thank you for coming. It means a lot to have you see this. Charlotte's been singing your praises for years. I thought it was time I saw for myself. He paused. Your grandfather would have appreciated the craftsmanship, even if the market positioning confounded him. The mention of my grandfather brought mixed emotions. He had passed away 6 months earlier, leaving Langford entirely to my father. How are things at Langford? Evolving, my father admitted. The sustainability division is now 20% of our portfolio, still luxury focused, but incorporating many of your principles. He hesitated. We're considering a mid-market project in Somerville, not unlike what you're doing, but with a Langford approach. Competition is healthy, keeps us all innovating. Indeed, he looked at me thoughtfully. The Langford board is restructuring following your grandfather's passing. I'm creating 2 new positions for external directors with expertise in emerging markets and sustainable development. I raised an eyebrow, understanding the implication. Are you offering me a board seat? I'm suggesting that Langford would benefit from your perspective, even as you continue building Nexus, a collaboration rather than an acquisition. It was a significant olive branch acknowledgement that my path, though different, had value for the family business. I'd need to think about it. There would be questions about conflicts of interest. Family businesses survive by adapting across generations, each bringing their own vision of the future. Later that evening, I reviewed my father's proposal. The board position would be advisory, allowing me to contribute to Langford's direction while maintaining independence with Nexus. It wasn't the future I had imagined, but it offered something unexpected, a chance to influence both paths forward. My phone buzzed with a text from Charlotte. Her dad offered you the board seat. Please say yes. Langford needs your voice. I smiled, looking at the framed photo of the first Nexus development on opening day, with residents receiving their keys in front of the building I had designed against all expectations. My grandfather had built Langford by recognizing an opportunity others couldn't see. I had built Nexus by doing the same. Different visions, different markets, but perhaps not such different impulses after all. Tomorrow, I would accept the board position with clear boundaries. Not as a return to the fold, but as a bridge between what Langford had been and what it might become, just as Nexus represented a bridge between my family's expertise and my own vision. Some buildings stand as monuments to the past. Others serve as foundations for what comes next. The best, I had learned, somehow managed to do both at once.